Time is finally here, Mitch. How does it feel that the season is officially upon you after the year that's been?
Miking you up pretty hot. Hey, we're excited. We got pulling out the jerseys and packing the bags, and I would say there's more short sleeve T-shirts than long sleeves in the bag right now getting packed. But I know that everyone is extremely excited. Just right now, just button up on the last few things, making sure, we're lining up the food, the travel itinerary, making sure everything's where it's supposed to be. But right now, I would say some of the other coaches, we were out walking the field earlier, and they had asked, so where do you feel any anxiety? Where are you a little caught up? What are you still thinking of? And I wouldn't say there's anything that I'm worried about. Fundamentals covered. Pitching, defense, the bat. I think everyone's put in the work. Now it's a matter of going out there and flipping on the lights, play ball, and handle business.
Hey, Coach, in light of the virus and traveling with all that, it's obviously a whole new situation for you guys. What changes about what you have to do? I mean, I don't know. Maybe you can just go into any restaurant and eat. I don't know what it's like in Arizona, but does it take more planning? Does it take more caution?
Yeah, definitely. Keeping the guys healthy so they can go out there and compete is extremely important. It's high on our priority list. And between our athletic trainer, our university doctor, myself, and the rest of the staff, we're trying to make sure that we are following protocol, keeping the guys as healthy as possible, also preventing any kind of worries with contact. So yeah, there's a little bit of extra planning when it comes to the bus travel, the flights, hotel rooms, making sure that the guys are rooming with, someone that they live with back here in Corvallis, minimizing exposure. And, the more we can get the guys out on the field, the safer the environment. And so, planning out practices and travel, it's taken more time than it has in the past, but it's something important, and hopefully we can be well prepared enough that it's nothing that is a big noise to the rest of the guys right now. So, as we travel, making sure that we're, following protocol, wearing masks, even it comes down to eating and drinking, making sure we're not sitting down at the table with 5, 6 other guys. So we've done a good job lining it up so that our guys can bubble with their roommate on the road as much as possible, but it'll make for time at the field even more special because you get to run out there and our testing protocol, the guys are going to be testing 1 to 2 times a week. So it brings encouragement knowing that you're healthy. It's just a matter of staying healthy. And our guys enjoy spending so much time with each other that's going to, I think, help us stay as healthy as we can be.
Mitch, what, as far as play on the field, what will constitute a successful weekend for you guys? And will your team have to wear their masks on the diamond in play?
No masks on the diamond as the rules are right now. In the dugouts, yes, bus and all that other stuff. But when they're on the field, they're not requiring any masks. I would assume that some guys still probably will wear their masks when they're out there, just personal preference for what they want. But we've been practicing wearing masks throughout the fall and, even right now as well. What would constitute a successful weekend? And really these guys going out and playing loose, playing confident, and to the best of their ability. The wins and losses should take care of themselves. As long as we're playing Beaver baseball, I'd say that puts us in a good position. We got, real high quality arms going on the mound, just watching the stuff and how they're competing. Very confident with our pitching. I always love our defense and the way our offense is working too. I think it just comes down to allowing yourself to be confident. These guys have put in tremendous amount of work over this last year preparing for it. But you know how it is when the game comes on, sometimes those butterflies can get the best of you and take you beyond what the level you need to be to go out and compete. So I'd say it's good that we do a lot of practice with breath work, and that can really help regulate our body and our mind, so that when we step in the box, we're not letting the game speed us up. And same thing on the mound, that we're in control of that pitch that we're going to throw, and we're doing it with conviction. So if we're able to go out there more times than the other team, and each pitch have more conviction and commitment, I would say that would constitute a successful weekend.
I'm going to give you Pat's favorite old question. Who's your day one starter, and what's your rotation look like?
Sorry, Hank, everyone cut out. I think I lost feed. I'm kidding. Day one starter, Kevin Abel. It's going to be his birthday too, so make sure you wish him a happy birthday, everybody. Turning 22 on his first day back in the start down there. So I think everyone is extremely excited to watch Kevin go out there and compete. It's been a long time coming, for many fans. I mean, I don't get on social media a ton, but obviously I hear about it from people in the community, and you see it online as well. It'll be an emotional day, but I'm very confident that he's going to go out there and bring out the best version of himself that day.
What about who comes after him? Saturday, Sunday, Monday?
Oh, I thought you were going to say who comes after him in the game. We'll see. As of right now, our starting starters are going to look like it'll be Kevin, Cooper Jerpy, and Phoenix. So we're gonna work through that fourth spot. Got an idea, but we're not there yet. We'll get there.
In terms of your starting nine, have you guys kind of figured that out yet, or still a few more days?
I think we got a good idea. As a coaching staff, we spend a lot of time connecting before and after practice, talking about possibilities. Again, it's going into the series well prepared. If there's a lefty, what does our lineup look like? If there's a righty, what does our lineup look like as the game goes on? Where situations you see that there might be someone coming off the bench, but it also goes at looking at their roster. Just because the lefty is starting doesn't mean we load up a whole bunch of righties, right? We're training our guys to go out there and compete against lefty, righty, doesn't matter. Prepping for this weekend's arms, it's not just the starters. What is our opponent's kind of pitching philosophy? What can we tell by watching a lot of their game film? How do they like to attack hitters? Also, being able to stick with our strengths is extremely important, and knowing where they're going to come after us is also very important. You have to kind of balance the two, but we're not going to give in, to what everything they're trying to pull against us. If they like to work away, we need to make sure that we're ready to drive the ball the other way, and that we've trained for it. I think that goes into a lot of our practice is competitive, challenging, random versus block training, and that way, whatever's thrown at us, that we don't panic. And trust me, we challenge the heck out of the guys at practice and throw all different angles, speeds, put a whole bunch of external variables out there. I guess call them constraints. And see how these guys adjust. So the more we can do that, I think it's going to help us in the long run, in this constantly changing climate that we're faced with right now.
Ryan Ober it seems like he's been around the program forever. He's with the 2018 team, but has only kind of gotten one full season under his belt. How excited are you to see just what he can do this year?
Ob's a special cat too. He's very gifted, and oh, hi. I don't want. Can I answer later so I don't answer in front of him? I don't want to give him a big ego or nothing like that. You're fine. For Obi, I don't even think he understands how good of an offensive threat he is. It's sometimes you worry about ego. For him, he's very humble. We talked to him a lot and said, "Look, man, we want you to lock down second base. That's your spot. Take care of it." But he's athletic enough that if he needed to slide to other positions and help out with the rest of the guys, getting someone else in the lineup, we'd be very confident putting him anywhere on the field. So athletic ability is through the roof. But when it comes to, the growth, I mean, there's things that happened just in the past month where you see him trying to continue to get better, whether it's on the physical side or the mental side. He's trying to better himself. I see this guy is having a very successful year as long as he continues to commit to his plan at the plate. He's someone that's flew under the radar to this point. I don't think people have yet to see him as the offensive threat that I believe will come out this year for him. And really, there's no pressure. He just plays the game. He has fun, puts a smile on other guys' faces. And, I can see this guy playing for a very long time, so long as he stays healthy and continues to believe in himself.
Mitch, you had talked about experimenting with the staff in Arizona. Do you have a handle on how many pitchers you might pitch? Do you have a number in mind?
I think the game, the inning, the score, the matchups all dictate that. Ideally, on a 4-game set, I like the idea of getting guys 2 appearances. The bullpen guys getting 2 appearances throughout that time. And there are some guys that are really built up to go multiple innings. But as we've talked about as a coaching staff, we feel that we have solid depth in there. There's no need to necessarily extend anyone, especially the first week or 2 of the season, is to get guys touches and get them the experience. So, if you look at the roster, we're going to be traveling 16 arms. That way our starters, we don't have to extend them too long, and it allows for the bullpen, especially with, 2 4-game series back to back down there. The second one starting on Thursday, having a deep bullpen is going to be very beneficial. Yeah. I don't know. You could take any of those guys that we're traveling right now. I'd be very confident with the ball in their hand on the mound.
Kind of rolling into that, how many guys are you guys able to travel?
35. I mean, it's unlimited roster. It goes university to university, I believe. But from our standpoint, what's always been done is 35, and that's kind of that's a sweet spot, especially with those 2 4-game weekends. It's valuable, for guys to be traveling, to learn how to do that, to travel, to see, a different team out there across the field from you. Like all of that is extremely valuable experience for younger guys to get acclimated. But really for right now, since people haven't played in a year, this is valuable for everybody, every second we get.
With just a couple days left here before you get going, do you have any unanswered questions about this team?
I mean, other than the obvious, like you're never going to know until the game is played. At the end of the season, you're going to have a good idea of the whole picture. But I'm like I said earlier with the conversation with the coaches, I can't think of anything that I'm really sweating. I mean, today at practice, we're going to have a pretty light day, go over a few just fundamental things, just a defensive review. Offensively, we're going to be prepping for the games we're playing this weekend and the guys that we anticipate facing. But the only other thing that we're really covering is just a couple base run, small things that we saw over this last weekend. We scrimmaged, 3 games this last weekend to get the guys' bodies ready to roll. And I would say just some of the learning notes from those games we're going to cover, but I'd say whether it's signs, whether it's defensive positioning, I really don't have anything that I'm ultra concerned about at this moment.
And from a health standpoint, no new injuries to report or anything like that?
My kids roughhoused with me the other night and kind of did the flying elbow. Fortunately, mom's been feeding them good, so they're not super bony. So I was able to respond. I got back and kind of delivered the 1-2, so they still know I'm in charge there. Oh, just other than my kids beating me up, no, I think we're in a good spot right now.
Well, you're no spring chicken anymore, so we have to check in with you about that.
I'm recovering well from my surgery 2 months ago. Had a little knee scope, but I try to get back in there. I probably shouldn't work out at the same time as our guys work out because I see how much weight they're throwing around, and then I feel like I need to do that. And you're right, I probably should not be doing that any longer, but all is good.
Before we let you go, Coach, looking back at Kevin, you obviously weren't around his first season, but can you describe his competitiveness and what you've seen out of that? Because that seems to be a characteristic trait that a lot of people talk about with him. Do you have any examples of what that looks like with him?
Follow him around on a day-to-day basis, and I don't think it matters what he's doing. If you challenge him, anytime I've gone over to him and challenged him and told him there was something I didn't think he could accomplish, he likes to prove me wrong. And I think most anybody, he's extremely confident, but he's still growing, and our job as coaches is to continue to challenge him and correct him, hold him accountable, because we want him to not only be successful this year, but we want him to be successful, life beyond Oregon State, as a man and as a player. And so it's constantly challenging him in everything that we do. But, there's been, to name one, it's hard because I think that I challenge him all the time. I'm not afraid to get up in his personal bubble and let him know what I think. We're very open and honest with one another. And, even whether it's school, something off the field. I mean, I watched the guy, in the fall, if we're playing ping pong, if we're doing PFPs, if we're doing, even if guys are out golfing or something like that, extremely competitive. If anything, he almost will do things too hard. Like it's like golf. You watch guys go out there, and the guys that are really loose will really try to rip it as far as they possibly can. So it's refining that and saying, instead of hitting it 320 yards, hitting it 275 and using my 7-iron instead of having to, use the pitching wedge, whatever. It's just strategy, him planning ahead. And so he's trying to, you'd rather have a guy like that is overly competitive and you try to learn how to reel back as opposed to sitting behind someone and pushing them. He's a guy that, and I can name a handful of guys in that clubhouse that if someone was coming in and trying to break into your house, you'd want him at the front door, and he'd defend the castle, no doubt.
Ryan, how excited are you just for it to be game week? I mean, you guys are finally back at it.
Yeah, it's been way too long, I tell you. It's been almost a year now since we got to play, so I think all of us, and me included, are just so unbelievably excited. More excited for this Arizona trip than we've ever been. So it's been a long time coming. I think we're all really ready.
Are there any within how you guys are traveling or the way in which you're traveling that feels markedly different because of COVID as opposed to roadies that you took last year?
Well, I think we get our own aisles on the planes. But besides that, we're wearing masks. I think we're held up in our hotels too, so we're gonna be getting real comfortable with our roommates on the road. But besides that, it's always a really, really good time traveling with these guys. We spend every day together, so we're all super tight, super close. It's just always a good bonding time with all of them. That never changes.
I'm curious about how different this kind of preseason has felt compared to years past, or does it?
A little bit, yeah. Just we've been in a lot more smaller groups, less team practices. But since we got back from winter break, we've been able to scrimmage a lot more than I know a lot of other schools in the country. So we've been really fortunate in that aspect. But yeah, we kind of had to split the locker rooms in half. We have 2 locker rooms, so we basically went like half the guys in one. other half and the other. So it kind of felt segregated a little bit, but we were able to see each other outside the field here and there. So it's we're still really close, but we missed out on some time together. But we'll be all right.
Like I was asking Mitch, I mean, you've been in this program a really long time, since 2018, but you've only got the one full season under your belt due to, I mean, circumstances last year. How excited are you just to, I mean, get going this year and get back at it?
Like I said, really excited. It feels that way with a lot of guys. We have like Joe Casey, Andy Armstrong, all those guys are fifth years. It feels like we've all been here forever, but like haven't really played that amount that we've been here. You know what I mean? I know 2018 was a different scenario because that team was unbelievably loaded. But yeah, it was unfortunate last year, but there's nothing we can really do about it. And I think we're really prepared. We see a lot of the best arms in the fall with our guys. So I feel very, very prepared. I know a lot of hitters do. So 1 season, 2 seasons under our belt, I don't really think it matters. I think this year will come with more confidence than we did last year. This fall looked miles better from a hitter standpoint than it did last fall. So we're really excited about that.
What does it mean to the team to have Kevin back at the top of the rotation?
He's just a good leader. He's that guy we can really lean on. Just not just on the field too. Off the field he's really well spoken. He's got a lot of things figured out. So it's good to have a guy like that for especially our younger arms to look up to. But yeah, on the field, man, he just brings this competitive edge every single week, and he's so hard-headed, and it's easy to back him on defense because he'll give the same effort that we show behind him. So it's going to be really, really nice having him.
I know him and Verb were kind of rehabbing at the same time and kind of pushing each other along the way. Did you see any of that? Like, what did that look like from your perspective? Just kind of watching from afar.
Those are both two really confident guys. I think a lot of times when guys go through that rehab process, they kind of start to guess themselves. It's been, so long since they've played, but through this process, I haven't seen themselves doubt each other, this whole time. I think they are just always looking forward, looking for the next outing. I think if anything, this time away of them rehabbing has been good. It builds that competitive fire underneath them, which they always have. So I don't think it's been harmful at all for them. I think they'll come back stronger than ever. So I'm excited to see it. Really am.
Hey, Ryan, I know this season will be different, but when you guys are in past years, when you guys are down in Surprise, do you ever get any interaction with any spring training teams or anything? I know any former Beavers in the pros. I'm sure that probably won't be doable this year, but has that been one of the things you've looked forward to going down there?
Yeah, when we go out to the practice fields for BP or whatever, we always see the Royals out there, and it's really cool to see those guys. And I'm not really sure if they're going to be out there when we're down there or not, but it's just another one of those things that's cool. But really, like at the end of the day, we're there to do our job, to compete and win ball games. So that's just kind of like an added bonus. It's kind of exciting, but they at the end of the day, I think it's not really a huge deal that we miss out on that if we do. So, but it is cool to see past Beavs though. I think 2018 we may have seen a guy, but I don't know. It's cool to see him around, but it's not the end of the world if we don't.
What was the biggest difference this past fall season and this past off season as compared to Mitch's first? And you're not the first one to talk about how much better this off season was than last. Why is that?
Well, I mean, I don't want to speak for him, but maybe the first year, Mitch is kind of feeling things out. He's the epitome of this program. He brings the culture with him. He's just a different style of coach than Case was. He's more of a player's coach, and it's easy to go out and talk to him. Younger guys, at least I believe, feel a little more comfortable talking to him than they would Pat Casey. I don't know if that's the age difference, but yeah, I think he got more comfortable and he built strong relationships with the returning guys, like me and Bird and Kevin. So I think we're a lot more on the same page now. And along with the rest of the staff too, I think we've got a really good thing going. We all kind of have one direction, one kind of message, and I think, yeah, we're just really on the same page this year.
It was easier for the older media guys to talk to Case too. If you were new, he was scary, man.
I bet, dude. He haunts my nightmares sometimes, I swear. Being a little freshman with him, he was like that godly presence in the room, man. I've learned so much from him though, man. He's awesome.